Hi, my name is Samantha Guild. I'm the president of AIM at Melanoma. I want to thank everybody for joining us this morning or afternoon, depending upon where you are in the world. Um, First, I want to thank, before I go any further, MD Anderson Cancer Center for putting this event together and being the start of our fall symposium season. I specifically want to give a shout out to Liz Burton and Rebecca Wisher from MDA. We could not have put this together without you. I also want to recognize AIM's new Director of Community Engagement, Ann Taylor. She recently joined us, jumped on in, and has been putting in a lot of work to get this event to you. Thank you so much, Anne. Hopefully at some point you all will get to meet her soon. Just a couple of notes before we get started. We are recording this event, so if for some reason you missed part of it, you want to share it, you want to see it again, that will be an opportunity. It does take a bit of time to get it out to people, so please bear with us. We during the event will be answering questions during a Q&A segment. It is really important though, we really encourage your questions, but we do want to ask that they be general in nature. We cannot answer questions about your specific care. We would encourage in those cases for you to go back to your providers, but we can answer some of your questions. If you are joining us in the Zoom, there is a Q&A feature. That is the best place to put your questions in to make sure that we see them. If you're joining us via Facebook or YouTube or one of these other channels, please go ahead. You are certainly welcome to put them into the comment section. We have a couple of people who are moving those over into the Zoom so that we can make sure that those questions get answered as well. We, of course, do want you to join us via chat, say hello, tell us where you're from, why you came here today. We love to hear from you. And so without any further delay, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Hussein Tawbi. Hussein, it is so great that you guys are here today with us. I'm really excited. So I'm going to let you take it from here.
Thank you. Good morning to everyone. Thank you so much, Sam. My name is Hussein Tawbi. I'm a professor of melanoma medical oncology here at MD Anderson and co-director of the Brain Metastases Clinic. And just really excited about this event. We're going to spend the next 3 hours with you thinking about what is so unique about brain metastases and melanoma and how much progress we have made over the years and how much more we can do for those patients now. And I will start by actually also thanking Sam and the AIM at Melanoma. It's been an amazing organization over, a very long time. It's been a great partnership with you, and actually really appreciate the opportunity to have our team of experts talk to you and to the rest of our patients and with you about how we can make progress for this disease. I also want to thank you and Anne for working with our team so closely, definitely to Liz Burton and Rebecca Wisher, who pulled together a great event on a Saturday morning, and many thanks to our speakers who are dedicating their time this morning as well to something they're all passionate for. So we're going to do over the next, let me share my screen and show you our agenda here briefly. So here's our agenda. Again, we really appreciate everybody joining in this morning to learn about this disease. And again, melanoma, you will hear so much specifically about how relevant brain metastases are to the care of patients with metastatic melanoma. And we're going to start with a treatment overview and landscape, and Dr. Ferguson will kick us off with the role of surgery specifically. Dr. Todd Swanson, actually, I apologize, this was an odd mistake, will be talking about radiation therapy, and Dr. Michael Davis will be talking about systemic therapy. Then you will have a break, I promise. It will be at least a 10-minute break. And again, depending on how many questions we will be able to field, it may be a little longer. Then we're going to move on to survivorship. And I'm really excited about this piece because I think for our patients with melanoma brain metastases, a lot of the times, there's kind of nihilism about it. But honestly, you will hear from my colleagues and I that survivorship is becoming a very important issue because we are curing patients, and we have patients now with long-term outcome, even if they had metastatic disease to the brain. And so you'll hear a little bit from Dr. Glitza about leptomeningeal disease, and then Dr. McQuaid will talk to you about microbiome diet and survivorship. I will wrap this up with a discussion around specifically the multidisciplinary care at MD Anderson, hopefully something that will be kind of happening across the country and the world as well, and some of the research that we're doing. And then we'll end at noon. And so really excited about this program. Many thanks to our speakers as well. And just to kind of place things in context for everyone, I think it's really important to understand why we chose 3 hours of just talking about brain metastases. And the truth is, brain metastases, unfortunately, are very common. When patients present and they talk about having brain cancer, actually, the vast majority of the time, the brain cancer, because there's a cancer in the brain, has not started in the brain. It actually starts in the brain very uncommonly. Glioma, or the primary brain tumors, are some of the rarest entities. Unfortunately, most of the time, almost to the tune of 8 to 1, it's going to be a cancer that started outside the brain and went to the brain or metastasized to the brain. So that's unfortunately a common event in patients with metastatic solid tumors. To the tune of about 30% of those patients will have cancer that will go to the brain, and that's what we call brain metastases. Most of the time, if you see this pie chart, you look at the vast majority of metastases that go to the brain are kind of coming from what we call the big three: lung, breast, and melanoma. You see melanoma here ranked as the number 3, but in reality, the only reason that lung and breast have more is simply because there are more patients with lung cancer and breast cancer. Unfortunately, on a case-to-case basis, melanoma is known to be one of the cancers that goes to the brain the most. And so because of that, we know that, and this is work that actually Dr. Davis, that will speak to you later today, will discuss as well, that we know at the time of the diagnosis of stage 4, the time that you find a lung metastases from melanoma or liver metastases from melanoma, the chances of having metastases to the brain at that time is up to 30 to 40%. And 10 years ago, when Dr. Davis published this, the survival for patients with metastatic melanoma to the brain was very limited, and less than 20% were alive at 1 year. And we also know that melanoma has the highest risk of what we call neurologic death. So when the disease goes to the brain, it becomes a very important aspect of those patients' care. If we control it, then we can help them survive longer. And if we don't, sometimes the brain metastases becomes the most important aspect that unfortunately can lead to death. But what you're going to hear today is actually in the last 10, 12 years since this paper was published, how much progress we have made and how many more options we have for patients with melanoma that's metastatic to the brain. The fact that cures are possible and are actually becoming frequent, which is really what you're going to hear about. And you'll see that this will happen with all of the team, all kind of hands on deck, with the neurosurgeons, the radiation oncologists, the medical oncologists, all working together to make this happen. And you'll also hear a little bit about how much we still have to do and how much research that still needs to be done, both in terms of understanding the biology of the metastases to the brain, understanding ways that we can potentially curtail it, understanding ways potentially to cure it, and hopefully in the future to possibly prevent it.